今日の試合は声出し応援の運営検証の試合となります。ファンサポーターの声援があるホームでの一戦、どのように捉えていますか？
Yeah, it will be the first impression for me, and I'm happy to have that situation now like that. I think it's better for everybody. But at the end, we have to do our work on the pitch. It should be a help from outside, but we have to do our job first on the pitch, and we have to win that game without any doubt.
自分にとってもサポーターの方々の声っていうのは初めての体験ですし、またチームにとってプラスになると思います。ただ自分たちがやれることっていうのはピッチの中でのことなので、あれからのサポートももらいつつも、やっぱり自分たちがやるべきことをピッチで体現することが大事だと思っています。
今日は声出し応援の運営検証試合の一戦です。アウェーではありますが、福岡サポーターの声出し、そして後押しがあると思います。どういった思いでしょうか？
期待に応えたい、そういう気持ちです。
はい、引き分け以上でこのステージ突破が決まります。試合の入り方、進め方、どういったことを意識して臨みたいですか？
勝ち抜けるために必要なことを状況に合わせてチームがバラバラにならずに、進めていきたいなと思います。
改めてプレーオフステージ突破に向けた意気込み聞かせてください。
勝ち上がれるように、全力でぶつかります。
Welcome along to the Ibaraki Kashima Football Stadium for the second leg of this YBC J.LEAGUE Levain CUP playoff clash between the Kashima Antlers and Avispa Fukuoka. It is an absolute pleasure to have your company wherever you are joining us across the world on the J.LEAGUE YouTube page. What a game we've got in prospect for you, and what an upset we've got potentially on the cards as well. Avispa Fukuoka winning 1-0 a week ago to set up the prospect of a real shock here, as Kashima Antlers, Japan's most successful team since the creation of the J.League a generation ago back in 1993, face potential elimination tonight. And of course, if the Avispa Fukuoka can grab themselves an away goal, then the Kashima Antlers will need to score a minimum of 3 times to stay in the competition and reach the quarterfinals. The teams presented out on the pitch then. Kashima Antlers in their traditional home strip of red with white trimmings. Avispa Fukuoka in their changed grey shirts. The referee today is Hiko Mikiuchi, assisted by Masahiro Horikoshi and Kentaro Matsui. Fourth official Samu Akasaka. We're mere moments away from kickoff, just completing the VIP greetings pre-match for Yamamoto there with the commemorative 724 on his back. A look at the teams, a midfield diamond for the Kashima Antlers, who make 2 changes from that side that lost 1-0 in the first leg a week ago. Yu Funabashi and Shoma Doi are out, and Diego Pituca comes in at the top of the midfield, of Hayato Nakama out on that right-hand side. It'll be interesting to see how that diamond shape matches up against Avispa Fukuoka. I know that Pituca is seen as a key playmaker when he gets things right for Kashima. They certainly need him to do that today. Put it into context just what a big achievement this would be for Avispa Fukuoka. They would reach the quarter-finals of this, indeed any cup competition, including the Emperor's Cup as well, for just the 3rd time in their history, after reaching the Emperor's Cup quarter-final in 2010 and the quarter-finals of this competition 6 seasons ago. They line up in a 4-4-2 system, unchanged from the side that secured that surprise victory in the first leg when Yuya Yamagishi's goal in the 23rd minute was what got them the victory. No surprise at all that they're not changing from that team that performed so creditably, and who tonight Rene Verlier will try and find a way through. Shigetoshi Hasebe in charge of Avispa Fukuoka. Won the J.League and J.League Cup double with Verdi Karasaki in 1994 as a player. But for Avispa Fukuoka, his team that he's in charge of now, their ambitions are a lot more modest in truth. Up against the mighty Kashima Antlers, who are not in form at the moment, just 1 win in their last 5 games in all competitions. Win against lower tier opposition Niigata in the Emperor's Cup. Avispa Fukuoka might just feel that this is their moment for an upset. So all set here at Ibaraki Kashima Football Stadium. The first of 4 playoff second leg games today. 4 quarter-final spots to be decided across the day's action, which is off and underway now. Avispa Fukuoka attacking from left to right as we look at things from our commentary box. Kashima Antlers kicking from right to left. Kashima in the red shirts with the white shorts. And Avispa Fukuoka in all grey, of course, with that 1-0 advantage from the first leg. Last bit of work pretty much straight from the kickoff by Yamagishi. Now maybe they can work something out here through Tanaka. Whipped cross. It wasn't a million miles away from Delgado. Delgado looking for something early on, and that is going to be important for Avispa Fukuoka. It's a very dangerous game to come to Kashima Antlers And the imposing home fans who'll make themselves heard too and try and shut up shop. I know that Shigetoshi Hasebe has talked pre-match about his side showing intent to find a goal. A goal that would change so much, of course, because Kashima Antlers failed to score an away goal. Avispa Fukuoka will hope that will prove crucial. Of course, we could have extra time tonight and even penalties if needed. Here's Izumi. Trying to win a corner. Hasn't managed to. Or has, in fact, thanks to the miss kick. Just 90 seconds or so taken for Kashima Antlers to win themselves the set piece. What can they make of it? Remember, if we had an exact reverse result from the first fixture, a 1-0 home win this afternoon for the Kashima Antlers, and it would bring us to extra time. Any other result would see the game decided, of course, by virtue of aggregate scoreline or that away goals rule to separate the teams. Corner into that 6-yard box, headed away though. Taking a bit of a blow in doing so, Nara. Suki Nara, the Avispa Fukuoka centre half. Got plenty of the ball, but then came off much the worse in the aerial collision. And the physio has come round to have a look at Tatsuki Nara here. Doesn't seem like Ikumi Sekigara, the opposing centre half he jumped with, has come off particularly well either. So we can have a significant early injury delay here to a game slightly delayed in terms of kick-off time. It's meant to start on the button at 3 PM. Remember that in an hour, Sanfrecce Hiroshima face Mikado Consadole Sapporo. And much later on, it's Kyoto Sanga against Nagoya Grampus. And also Shonan Bellmare against Cerezo Osaka. Avispa Fukuoka, of course, with the 1-0 lead from the first leg in this tie. And Cerezo Osaka on 1-0 at home against Shonan Bellmare. So they'll take that very same advantage on the road for that second leg game later. The other two ties are not quite decided, but a longer way to being decided, you would say. Sanfrecce Hiroshima winning 3-0 away at Mikado Consadole Sapporo, so they really are in control of that tie, as are the defending champions Nagoya Grampus, who won 6-1 against Kyoto Sanga a week ago. So you would expect to see Nagoya Grampus and Sanfrecce Hiroshima probably going through today. Whereas this tie and Cerezo Osaka versus Shonan Bellmare are a lot more uncertain. Speaking of uncertain, seems uncertain as to whether Tatsuki Nara is going to be able to continue here, the 28-year-old centre-half. Might have to be an early tactical reorganisation. Douglas Grawley would seem the obvious like-for-like replacement. Never ideal for a coach when you spent so long planning for a game and just minutes in you've got to make a change. Plenty have travelled in the hope of seeing an upset. Avispa Fukuoka, quarter-finalists in this competition in 2016. That's the furthest they've ever been. Often fallen short at this playoff stage. For those unfamiliar, 16 teams in the group stages, 4 groups of 4. The top 2 all go through to this playoff stage. And then 8 teams compete in 2-legged games. And the 4 that win make it through to the quarterfinals to join the 4 who are already waiting for them. They've got their courtesy of their continental commitments. They've got a bye straight through to those quarterfinals. Those 4 teams being Kawasaki Frontale, Yokohama F Marinos, Vissel Kobe and the Urawa Red Diamonds. Ball forward, just trying to take advantage of potential confusion in that defence after the injury to Tatsuki Nara. Avispa Fukuoka appealing for a foul. Referee Gucci not interested. And it's now Yama Suzuki who's down. Yama Suzuki, somewhat of a star striker for the Kashima Antlers. 26-year-old, he's already got a couple of goals in the cup this season. Already has 6 in the league too. Second top scorer behind Ayase Ueda. Has 10 in the league already for Kawasaki. For Kashima, I beg your pardon. Kawasaki on my mind because they could be a potential quarter-final opponent for either of these sides. And what's been an injury-hit start to this game, Tatsuki Nara's left shoulder still seems in some serious discomfort, so it does seem like the change I predicted might be made is going to be made in Douglas Grawley coming on. So on comes the 32-year-old Brazilian Douglas Grawley for his 15th appearance of the season. His 4th in this competition. A very, very early substitution due to the injury to Tatsuki Nara, which, despite his best efforts, looks like quite a bad blow to his left shoulder. He's unable to continue from. Nice feet out there by Izumi. Just ran out of room. Nara heads down the tunnel for further treatment. And Grawley has got to get his head into the game. It's not easy when you're a substitute. Never quite know when you'll be needed, but you don't necessarily expect to be needed as early as coming on like Grawley has here. A clean sheet would take them through, but I don't want to think like that. Can end up inviting a lot of pressure through a game with that sort of a mentality. Cross swung in. Away by Misao. And now Kashima can break. Much on that for Suzuki though. It's the home captain who's down now. Suzuki. It's been a very stop-start opening to this game. And now the physio has fallen over Suzuki, which is far from ideal. It's Rene Wheeler's turn in the home dugout to have a think about what he might have to do if Suzuki has to come off. Seems like Suzuki has injured himself in the process of what was not the best challenge at all on the opposing fullback, Yoto Maijima. That is not what Kashima Antlers need at all. One of the players they'd have been looking to tonight for a bit of creative inspiration, Yuma Suzuki. Say tonight, this early afternoon, of course. Yuma Suzuki with 8 goals already in 20 games this season. It's a creative thread as well, but those signs are not encouraging. It looks like we'll be evened up in terms of both sides losing a player early due to injury here. Difficult to see Yuma Suzuki continuing. Warm reception for Yuma Suzuki as he comes off. And Everaldo, the number 9, is ready to come on. Kashima Antlers fans will hope that's not too serious. Such an important player for them. Regardless of their YBC J.LEAGUE Levain CUP campaign this season, there's, of course, plenty to go on beyond just this. League season pretty much at the midway point now. The Emperor's Cup just getting going in recent times. Bursting forward is Tanaka. Tanaka's cross. And just wide. What a chance that was for Jordi Krook. Almost turned it in. Really difficult technical skill this. Had to charge into the box, then stop and set himself, and the Belgian nearly did it perfectly. Almost getting that crucial away goal. But of course mean the Kashima Antlers would need to score 3 unanswered to go through. Wasn't an easy chance, but it certainly was a chance. He did so much right there. Everaldo's first touch ends up being dispossessed by Krook. Haven't really seen the game get into much of a flow yet because it's been so stop-start. It's just been the nature of how it's gone. One forward for Izumi to chase. Majima. Well, this was the chance, reverse angle. Was also Yuya Yamagishi. And they're trying to make something happen. Yamagishi, whose goal in the first leg, his 3rd in the competition this season, was the difference between the teams. Played by Tsunemoto. We'll leave it for Majima. Home fans in very good voice, as they always are. At the Ibaraki Kashima Football Stadium, doing everything they can to try and rouse their side. Have, it must be said, not been in great form recently. Just 1 win from 5 back-to-back defeats, a 3-1 loss against Tokyo in the league in their last game in May. And of course, 1-0 defeat to Avispa Fukuoka a week ago. Really entertaining 4-4 draw. The Kashima Antlers as well in league action recently. 1-1 draw at the Iwara Red Diamonds. Actually been on a very good run until this recent loss of form. Just 1 win in their last 5 in all competitions. Before that, 5 wins in 6 going through April and early May. Contrast that with Avispa Fukuoka, who pretty well recently. They've had a series of low-scoring games, been built around defensive solidity. Kept 6 clean sheets in their last 8, which is absolutely remarkable. The 2 games in which they have conceded, they have lost. A 2-0 defeat at Kawasaki Frontale and a 1-0 loss at the current defending champions of this competition, Nagoya Grampus. Both those defeats in the league. As Grawley does just enough to help end that attack before his centre-half partner Mia clears it. Confirmation there of the tactical shape. How Everaldo fits into that. Everaldo pretty much a straight swap for Yuma Suzuki. It's still that midfield diamond with Yuta Higuchi holding. Ato Kaik out left with Aoto Nakama out on the right and Diego Petuca trying to play make in behind the front 2. Nakamura down. He's taking his time to get back to his feet. I'm sure there will be some Avispa Fukuoka fans looking at that record I mentioned. 5 clean sheets in their last 6 games across all competitions, thinking just one more here and through to the quarterfinals. Would be one heck of an achievement, no doubt about that. Great look as well at the visitors' setup, playing in a more conventional 4-4-2, as most teams in Japanese football tend to do more often than not. Tends to be the system of choice. Most sides tend to like the focal point, and most coaches tend to like the focal point of 2 up front. Foul on the camera. Wasn't a huge amount of contact, it has to be said, with Moriyuki Mei, but did look to impede the 30-year-old. Nice crossfield ball. Anzac did really well to keep that in play at all. And there's Grolly to clean up. Higuchi at the base of that diamond. Didn't quite get it where he wanted to. Game of head tennis, and it ran kindly for the shot from Kike. Didn't need a second invite to have a go. Already has 6 goals this season across all competitions, the Brazilian. Martel, who is one of the quite significant Brazilian contingent at the Kashima Antlers. There's also Everaldo, who's come off the bench. Diego Pituca is in the starting lineup in the attacking midfield position. Juan Alano, also Bueno. 5 of them, and they've all spoken of the fact that their fellow countrymen at the same club as make it a bit easier to settle in Japan. Chance, great save onto the post from Murakami. That is brilliant goalkeeping. And now it's advantage of Avispa Fukuoka thanks to the handball. Rolly can get it clear. Brilliant strike. It just dropped kindly for the Antlers to try and find that goal that would level things on aggregate. And Masaki Murakami did so well here. Now busy barking out instructions to his defence. Encouraging signs for the home side. And we can see the chance again. It was Maijima. Well, I was going to say clear the ball, didn't really clear it at all, and it's a magnificent follow-up stop from Kat to deny Kike as well. It really is great goalkeeping, and that can be the difference. Strikers get all of the credit and noticed when they score, but that is a magnificent pair of saves. Juanma Delgado, meanwhile, was gone in the book. And in amongst all of that, going to be a card as well for Everaldo. He's still protesting his innocence, not that it's going to change the decision. So both number 9s have gone in the book in the space of 60 seconds or so. Delgado and now Everaldo, who came off the bench, of course, for the injured Yuma Suzuki. Nicely worked. Crew almost gave Avispa that crucial away goal. Finds a really nice pass for Tanaka. Now the cross. A bit awkward. And Suntae-kun's first interception of this game is punching that away. Make it his first touch of the ball at all, really, in this game. Certainly of any significance. Lost by Yamagishi. Interception by Groli, who just ran out of room. Izumi. Well-worked move. Down without a lot looking like it was in it, and the referee agreed. Foul from Patuka. Tom. Easy catch for Suntae-kun. Remember as well that you can keep up with everything going on at both clubs across social media at @ATLRS_official for the Kashima Antlers. Just short of 450,000 Twitter followers. They have got an account in English as well. And that Avispa AVISPAF for Avispa Fukuoka. Just over 100,000 followers on social media. Lovely jinking run inside, and that's a great recovery challenge. Just as a one-on-one situation was breaking. Superbly done by Kenta Misao, and it had to be as well. Crossfield ball for Anzai. Anzai is fouled. Crew left frustrated. Referee Akihiko Ikeguchi is just having to keep things calm out there. Tempers fraying from both sides. Plenty on the line, of course, a quarter-final spot to be precise. Koki Anzai winning the free kick. I won't need a second invite to get forward. This is such a case across modern football right around the world. Fullback's so important in that regard. Higuchi to cross. Just looking for a little flick on. Didn't get it. He cycled brilliantly. What a volleyed pass that is. And what a bit of skill too. Grolly is there though. Trying to see it out for a free kick. Haven't managed to, a goal kick I should say. Avispa Fukuoka almost played themselves into trouble there. Almost ended up conceding a corner, or worse, inviting a significant goal scoring chance. For reminding viewers as well, if maybe you're unfamiliar, the entirety of the ball has to have crossed the line for it to be out. If we were appealing, that might be a goal kick in their favour there. But not so. As long as any bit of the ball is still touching that line, it's in play. Anzak. Overhit from Iguchi. Yuta Higuchi trying to create something at the base of that midfield. 25-year-old who has got a good eye for a pass. Quite a two-footed player as well, which is also handy when trying to link the play from deep. Quick focus there as well on Takaki Shichi, left wing back for Avispa Fukuoka, who, under their coach Shigetoshi Hasebe, who we saw in shot there, play with 4-4-2 shape commonly seen in Japan, where the wing backs look to get forward, have inverted wingers more often than not, look to break in more central areas and support the strikers. Isao. Anzai. Will spread forward, but too much on that to get Nagishi in the game. They'll want to do that if they can. He's a pest up front to opposing defences. He has 3 goals in the cup this season. To go with 3 in the league as well. Forward, Everaldo gets it down nicely for Izumi. Good feet from Izumi. Forced to set it back. Nakama. Pressure from Kashima Antlers. 1 goal, of course, in this tie is all level. Were it to stay 1-0 in favour of the home side, we'd be heading to extra time. Tsunemoto. Followed by Kun. And for Nakama to chase. Foul from Izumi. And Shichi. Don't underestimate how much of a big piece of footballing news here in Japan it would be if Shigetoshi Hasebe's Avispa Fukuoka side were to complete this upset. Hasebe joining Avispa in 2020 after leaving second division side Mito Hollyhock. Had a distinguished playing career as well. More than 200 appearances in Japanese football. He's now watching his side try and complete what would be a big win to reach the quarter-finals against Japan's most successful team. 8 league titles for the Kashima Antlers, 6 trophies in this competition, and then 5 Emperor's Cups as well. 19 domestic trophies in 29 years, that's their pedigree. Set piece chance for Avispa Fukuoka. away goal really would tilt the scales heavily in their favour. Can crossfield for the aerial prowess of Kashima. We'll have to settle for a throw for now. Another thing that accurately reflects what an upset this would be is the current J-League table. Kashima Antlers in second, 1 point off the table toppers, the Yokohama F Marinos. One of the four sides will get a bye straight to the quarter-final stage of this competition, so either of these two could end up playing them in the next round. Kashima currently in second ahead of Kawasaki Frontale on goal difference. You have to look a lot further down the table to find Avispa Fukuoka. 12th with 19 points from 16 so far, just 4 points off fourth bottom and the fourth and final relegation spot, which is held by Jibio Iwata. But Avispa haven't necessarily had a bad season so far. They've only lost 5 of their 16 league games. Their problem has been maybe a touch too many draws, almost half their games ending level. 7 draws from 16. Foul by Yamagishi. He was just a bit late in on Sekigawa. It's of course the first of 4 playoff matches going on across today. Kicking off in under half an hour's time now, in fact just over 20 minutes. It's the second leg of Hiroshima versus Sapporo. Hiroshima with a 3-0 away win, which puts them emphatically in control of that one, of course. And then later on, Shonan Bellmare versus Cerezo Osaka and Kyoto Sanga versus Nagoya Grampus, last season's defending champions. Last season's winners, I should say, this season's defending champions. Uncertainty at the back, and Kawasaki are in front. The Kashima Antlers have their goal. It's an absolute mess from Avispa Fukuoka, and all of a sudden the tie is level. Really poor defending. A game of penalty box pinball, and it's the home side who take advantage through Everaldo. The Brazilian gets his first goal of the season. What a time for it. Hasn't had much pitch time this season. Comes off the bench in place of the injured Yuma Suzuki and puts them in front. Just couldn't believe his luck. Pretty much dropped straight onto his right foot. And Everaldo scores. And that has got this place jumping. Oh, what a time to open your goal account for the season. The second leg of a cup tie when your side so desperately need one. It's had a bit of a troubled time of things recently, it has to be said, Everaldo. His first season after joining from Chapecoense in 2019. He scored 18 goals in 33. In the J-League, he made a big impression in life at Kashima Antlers. Last season struggled for goals a lot more. He did get 3 in this competition and 5 in the Emperor's Cup, but only scored 1 in 28 in the league last season, Everaldo. And this season has only made 6 appearances. He's found minutes on the pitch hard to get, with striking spots so competitive at the Kashima Antlers. Now he has his first goal of the season. It's 1-1 on aggregate. I was actually just about to say before that goal that Kashima had been largely quietened, both in terms of the crowd, and maybe had hoped to inject something in this second leg. also just in terms of on the pitch. Cross swung in by Anzai. And Murakami comes out. Chance for two. Fukuoka was trying to make something happen, and just wide. Suddenly they're sizzling, the Kashima Antlers. Good feet from Diego Pituca. And Nakama having a go. Just caught off the outside of his foot and swerved wide. Well, it is very early to say it, but if things stay as they are now, we would head to extra time. I'm sure there'll be quite an inquest as to what happened in that Avispa Fukuoka defence that have been so good recently. They had 5 clean sheets from their last 6 games in all competitions heading into this one. 6 clean sheets from their last 8 if you want to look back a bit further than that. Been in really good form overall too. Only 2 losses in their last 13 for Avispa Fukuoka. Winning 7 of those. To do for Avispa Fukuoka. Now it's at 1-1. You'd think that would only urge the away side to come out and attack more in truth. Remember, if Avispa Fukuoka can find just 1 goal, then Kashima Antlers need to find 2 more to go through because of the away goals rule and because they were not able to get an away goal in the first leg a week ago. Nicely chested down by Everaldo. Nice communication about who was picking it up though, and where. Advantage being played from the foul. Referee Ikuchi doing his best to let play go on where possible. Good interception by Pituca. Read the play well. Now can start to try and make the play himself. Rightly warmly applauded. Fine work from the Brazilian there. He's doing his best to get Kashima ticking. Anzai. Izumi. Again, a miscommunication from Avispa at the back. Chance. Deflected and in! Kashima have another! Hayato Nakama. And they're in front on aggregate in the blink of an eye. 2 goals in 4 minutes. And Japan's most successful club have found a way to turn this tie around. It dropped kindly for Nakama. Again, real question marks of the defending. Good work by Everaldo, and then the rollback as well from Kago Tsunemoto. Took a little deflection on its way into that far corner. This will confirm it. Well, it's a horrible deflection, in fact. It was goal-bound regardless, but when it takes that nick off Takaki Shichi, it goes to being unstoppable. There's nothing that Masaki Murakami can do about it. It's a bit of luck there for the Kashima Antlers and for Hayato Nakama, who will rightly claim the goal. The shot was goal-bound anyway. But no doubt it was the little nick on the way through of Takaki Shichi that really took it into the net and past Masaki Murakami. You'd be a football fan, hey? Worked so hard to get that 1-0 advantage a week ago. And it's gone. The ball on. Could be 3 before half-time here. Really got to just find a foothold in this one, Avispa Fukuoka. They do find an away goal now, and the tie is back in their favour. Delgado. Crew, who almost had them in front early on. Delgado once more. Does well to win the corner. It's good work in the channels from the forward run by Delgado. These fans doing it their very best to inject a bit of belief back into their side. For a team that have been so defensively solid so often recently, just had a couple of uncharacteristic lapses there, I'm sure, to the great frustration of Shigetoshi Hasebe. Get an away goal and turn the tie back in their favour. Little training ground move. May. Now the cross can come in from Krua eventually. Headed only half away. Another ball inside. Jima fouled. Good spell of pressure this for Avispa Fukuoka. Is there something at the end of it? They've got another set piece here. They're trying something again off the training ground, much like the corner routine. Can't say it worked particularly well, in truth. Into the last minute of this first half. Here at Kashima Football Stadium. Opened in 1993, expanded in 2001, as a lot of stadiums in this part of the world were, for the FIFA World Cup in Japan and South Korea in 2002. Hosted 3 group games featuring Germany, Argentina and Italy. Kashima with control of not just the momentum in the match, but also the tie as well now. Still precariously placed, though. In terms of an away goal could change things. Fouled by the goal scorer Nakama. Into stoppage time at the end of this first half. I mean, they'll really, if they can, Kashima want a 3rd goal just to give them that insurance policy. Knowing then that if they concede 1, they'll still be through. 5 minutes added on. It's owing to the extensive injury delays that we had at the start of this first half. Just to put into context what a surprise result it was in this first leg. It was just the 4th time in 34 meetings between these two clubs that Avispa Fukuoka have managed to beat the Kashima Antlers. Kashima with 26 wins and then 4 draws between the two clubs in that time as well. Really historically, there's always been a pretty one-sided affair in truth in terms of Kashima's dominance. course, so often they haven't just been dominating Avispa Fukuoka, they've been dominating Japanese football. Of course, also became Asian champions when they won their first AFC Champions League title in 2018. One of only 2 clubs to have competed in Japan's Pro Top Flight Football League every year since its inception. The other being the side currently above them, top of the table, the Yokohama F. Marinos. So that's stopped by Grolli and just about falls into the grateful hands of Murakami. Again, no uncertainty at the back from Avispa Fukuoka. One thing we do know for certain now is we will not be going to extra time. The only way that could happen is if we had a mirror of last week's result in terms of another 1-0 home win. So that's run kindly for Yamagishi to try and chase. Sekigawa is there. The onus now, of course, on Avispa Fukuoka to find a goal. It must be said that's something that I wouldn't quite say they've struggled at doing recently, but they haven't found plenty of them. They have only scored 5 goals in their last 6 games across all competitions. 3 of those against lower division opposition Okinawa in the Emperor's Cup recently on the 1st of June. They've been a side that's been primarily built on a stable defence, which has not looked quite as stable as they might like in this first half. Batuka. Miss out. Anzai can't quite keep it alive. Might be one last chance for Avispa to grab an away goal in this first half. Only scored 11 goals in 16 games in the J-League so far this season, Avispa Fukuoka. They found goals tough to come by. Even in the Cup, they only managed 6 in 6 group games when getting through as runners-up in Group D behind Shonan Bellmare. Avispa with 10 points, Shonan with 12. It was Avispa Fukuoka's excellent defence more than anything that helped them go through. Kashima Antlers, meanwhile, winning Group A. 13 points from 6 games, 2 clear of Suizu Osaka, who finished in second. Delgado. Still going here, Delgado. And has managed to get it away too. Great chance this for the away goal! They've got it! It's Yuya Yamagishi again, and Avispa Fukuoka are back in front in the tie. Another twist and turn in this eventful first half. Total switch off at the back from Kashima Antlers this time. Juanma Delgado seeming to be able to keep going and going, and then managed to sort of scoop it through. Very clever improvised pass. That found Yota Majima, the fullback who was marauding forward, unselfishly did the right thing, put it across for Yuya Yamagishi. His 4th in the Cup this season. And it's the man who scored in the first leg who does it again. Right on the stroke of the half-time whistle. Real drama here at the Ibaraki Kashima Football Stadium. 3 goals in the last 10 minutes of that first half, and right now it is Avispa Fukuoka who are going through on the away goals rule. Thanks to that strike from Yuya Yamagishi at half-time in the tie. It is Kashima Antlers 2, Avispa Fukuoka 1 on the night, but 2-2 on aggregate. We'll see you for the second half very shortly. What a game we've got in prospect.
チーム選手の入場です。
Welcome back to the Ibaraki Kashima Football Stadium for the second half of this J.League YBC Levain Cup playoff tie between the Kashima Antlers and Avispa Fukuoka. And if it's half as dramatic as the first, then by goodness we've got some drama for you folks. Avispa Fukuoka, of course, came into this game with a 1-0 lead from the home game that they won a week ago thanks to that goal from Yuya Yamagishi. 2 goals in 4 minutes. In the 35th minute from the Brazilian substitute Everaldo after confusion in the away defence. And then by Hayato Nakama 4 minutes later had Kashima in control of the tie until quite literally the last kick of the first half, when in the 5th minute of stoppage time Yuya Yamagishi scored again to make it 2-2 on aggregate. It means that as things stand, Avispa Fukuoka would be in front on the away goals rule. Of course, Avispa Fukuoka having scored that away goal right on the stroke of the half-time whistle. And the Kashima Antlers didn't manage one last week. Off and underway then for the second half. It's Kashima Antlers in the red shirts attacking from left to right as we look at things. And they're changed all grey strip. Avispa Fukuoka kicking from right to left. So if Avispa Fukuoka were able to score again, then the Kashima Antlers would have to score twice because of that away goals rule. For now, 1 goal will do it for the Kashima Antlers by putting them back in front on aggregate. That away goals rule, of course, only coming into play if the sides are level. Worth saying as well that the second playoff match of the day is now underway. Hiroshima versus Sapporo, currently 0-0 in the early stages of the second leg after Hiroshima won 3-0 away last week. Well worked to move this. Artur's ball in. Played away by Crow. Just under a couple of hours' time, Shonan Belmar versus Suiza Osaka gets going, and then the last of the 4 games today to kick off sees Kyoto Sanga host last season's winners of this competition, Nagoya Grampus, who after a 6-1 win last week will be confident of progressing, as Nakama just can't quite get his foot round that one. On target in the first half, Hayato Nakama, the deflected effort that put them 2-0 up. Good link play from Everaldo, who's been a bright presence up front for the Kashima Antlers ever since coming on. Kashima Antlers, a club with such a rich history, of course. Amongst other things, the first Asian club to reach the FIFA Club World Cup final in 2016. After a 3-0 win against Atlético Nacional, the then South American champions. When headed away, Crow's cross leading to the first corner of this second half for Avispa Fukuoka. And in that Club World Cup final in 2016, the Kashima Antlers met Real Madrid, the mighty Real Madrid, and certainly gave them a very good game indeed. They drew 2-2 against them after 90 minutes. Going on to lose 4-2 after extra time. Bus stop routine ready from the corner. Near post and headed over by Grulli. Brazilian up from the back, trying to cause a bit of chaos. The 30th ever J.League YBC Levain Cup. Nodded on towards Everaldo. Artur. Link up with Fukuoka down that left flank. Confirmation as well if you are maybe just a touch confused by that clock in the left corner of your screen. But it is showing the time in this second half, if you hadn't already worked out. Cross whipped in and almost went in at that far post. Ryuji Izumi was chasing it in as well. Kashima Antlers almost grabbing the aggregate lead once more. It was Crew who was caught in possession. Feraldo tried to head it initially, ended up sort of ducking underneath it in the end. It's Diego Fukuoka's ball in. Too much on it for Izumi, who was running in at the end as well. Feraldo, who was something of an injury doubt for this game, alongside Ryotaro Araki. They're also without Ayasa Ueda, who's away on international duty with the Japanese team, and that is a big loss for the Kashima Antlers. He's their top goal scorer this season, 10 in the league. He's the top goal scorer throughout the Japanese top flight, not just for Kashima. Arto looks for the switch, forced back. Worth putting this in context once more, this is one of the biggest teams in Japan against a side who have the longest history as a J-League club without winning a major Japanese competition in Avispa Fukuoka. Never won either the Japanese first or second tiers, or the Emperor's Cup, or this competition. Floated in and nodded wide. Reached the quarterfinals of this competition in 2016, Avispa Fukuoka. The quarterfinals of the Emperor's Cup way back in 2010, and that's the closest they've got to winning either of them. Even when they've got promoted from the second division frequently over the years, it's always been without actually managing to win the division. Indeed, they were promoted as runners-up in 2020 from the Japanese second tier. Had a record high finish of 8th in the J-League last season. Feraldo not happy here. Juanma Delgado is down, clutching his right ankle. Juanma Delgado somewhat gingerly getting back up to his feet. Might be the first time that either side turned to the bench. Has beckoned the stretcher off, which is an encouraging sign. Takeshi Kanamori would be one of the potential alterations to come on if needed. Of course, both sides have already used a substitute each within the first 10 minutes of this game for injury. Douglas Grawley coming on for Suki Nara in the centre-half position for Avispa, and Everaldo coming on for Yuma Suzuki up front. In comes the set piece, touched away by Suntae-kun. And now here comes a counter-attacking chance. A really important interception just to slow things up from Hiroyuki Mei. Zinged crossfield. Tsunomoto. Higuchi. Crossfield from Anzai. Just too much on it though. Thinking to do for Rene Weiler, the 48-year-old, the first non-Brazilian or Japanese head coach in Kashima Antlers history. Did get one cap for the Swiss international team as a defender during his playing days. He's had a bit of a wide-ranging managerial career. This could be a card. Referee Kihiko Higuchi is just having to calm things down. Another set-piece chance for Avispa Fukuoka. Currently have their noses in front thanks to that away goals rule. Thanks, of course, to a goal in either leg from Yuya Yamagishi. They go short from the set-piece, having set up to get it into the box. Nicely taken down by Mia. Now in it comes, and nodded goalwards. Kuhn makes the save. And immediately looks to launch something. Douglas Grolli with the effort. The Brazilian centre-half. If they could find another goal of Avispa Fukuoka, that would give them something of a cushion. Because then Kawasaki Frontale would need to find two. Crossfield, just about kept in play by Kago Tsunomoto. Got to be careful of not sitting deep here, letting the fact that they've got themselves in front in the tie cause Avispa Fukuoka to invite pressure. Have kept a sense of attacking intent though at the start of this second half, and here they come. Through Delgado. Wins the throw off Kento Misao. Kento Misao, something of an Antlers legend with more than 200 caps. 200 appearances, I should say, to be precise. 6 caps for the Japanese national team as well. And only 26 years old as well. Was part of the Kashima Antlers side that won the league title, AFC Champions League, and this competition with the Kashima Antlers since he first joined in 2016. It's a club where expecting to win trophies is the norm. Contrast that to a club in Avispa Fukuoka who've never won a major trophy. Remember, if Avispa Fukuoka can make their way through this tie, it'll be only the second time in their history they've reached the quarterfinals of this competition. Of course, sometimes due to their status of being in the second division, they haven't even managed to make it into the YBC J.LEAGUE Levain CUP, which is almost exclusively reserved for top tier sides. Good old wrestling match there involving Delgado and Misao. Whipped cross. Good defence from Sekigawa, who was well positioned. Proper game of head tennis. Given by that assistant on the far side, Masahiro Horikoshi. Osamu Akasaka, the fourth official today, keeping charge of both managers on this near side in front of our commentary position. Higuchi releases Tsunomoto. Kashima Antlers pressing for this goal that would get them back in front. Home fans doing everything they can to inspire their side. Not able to sit bunched close together for obvious reasons due to social distancing, masks being worn as well. Volleyed back towards goal. That attack repelled. Still a long way to go for Avispa Fukuoka here though, if they're to complete what would be a big upset. Nicely worked. Now space for Delgado. Just trying to get that pass through to his strike partner. Couldn't quite find Yamagishi. Of course, Delgado so brilliantly started the move that led to Yamagishi's goal on the stroke of half-time. Fell for Crow to hit one. Sensei Kwon had it covered though. It's the Belgians' frustration. Fans doing their best to inspire their side to what would be a famous victory. Corner nearly went straight in. Masaki Murakami had to make sure. Now May. It's a teaser. And over from Crawley. Just couldn't quite get his balance right, but it wouldn't have counted anyway. Foul from Delgado. Knows where the ball more hit the head of Crawley than him necessarily being able to control it. But again, one way Delgado is causing problems up there for the Kashima Antlers defence. Crossed by Nakama. Will settle for a throw. And with every minute that goes by, the tension ratchets up. Kashima Antlers head closer to a surprise elimination. Miscommunication. There will be space here on the break for Avispa Fukuoka if they can exploit it. Pitsuka. Higuchi. Izumi. Higuchi. Thought of hitting one, clever shimmy inside. No foul given. Almost 65 minutes gone. Sure, both coaches, Viola of the Kashima Antlers and Hasebe of Avispa Fukuoka, will be just starting to look towards their benches. Tanaka. Dispossessed. And then with something of a frustrated foul on Izumi. Tsunemoto. Nakama. Oh, that's cleverly done. Izumi. Headed only half away. Higuchi will clip over the top. Grolli is there. Will have to do a lot more defending there to hold out for this Avispa Fukuoka. Probably clear, but straight to Pituka. Sent crossfield, Izumi. Higuchi. Higuchi might strike one. Well blocked by Shichi. Just starting to build waves and waves of pressure here, the Kashima Antlers. Substitution for Avispa Fukuoka, the first change either side has made since the two enforced injury swaps in the first 10 minutes that either team did. Tatsuya Tanaka comes off, and it is something of a straight swap, really. No change in system expected. Sotan Tanabe comes on down that left flank. Kashima create here, gathered by Murakami. We are at the midway point of this second half. Remember that as things stand, Avispa Fukuoka would go through on the away goals rule. Confirmation there of how Sotan Tanabe slots in tactically. As mentioned, it's a bit of a straight swap really for Tatsuya Tanaka. The overall 4-4-2 shape won't change. I've looked at Wanma Delgado and Yuya Yamagishi, who have linked up well throughout this game, to try and offer a counter-attacking threat, because inevitably as the Kashima Antlers push more and more bodies further forward, they will leave spaces that can be exploited in behind. Masaki Murakami just taking the opportunity to perfectly legitimately and legally waste a few more seconds there. And that tells you, if you didn't know already, that it is Avispa Fukuoka who have the upper hand in the tie. Nagishi very intelligently not playing that one, knew that he was offside. Header by Grolli. Now space for Delgado. Kept in by Kroh. It was a teasing cross. Taekwoon was there though. Eager to try and get Kashima going quickly. Chance for Sultan Tanabe, the substitute, to have a run. Shiji. Tanabe. Nicely worked from the throw. This is up kindly into Sun Tae-kun's hands. Play from Shun Nakamura there. But as they'll know from the first half, it can all change so quickly for Avispa Fukuoka. Only needs one goal from the Kashima Antlers to break their hearts. Set piece chance for the Kashima Antlers to create something here. Mucha Higuchi over it. Pichuka. Just couldn't quite keep it alive, Kento Misao. To keep you updated elsewhere, more than half an hour gone now, and still 0-0 between Hiroshima and Sapporo. Hiroshima carrying over a 3-0 win from the away leg, and of course those 3 goals even more so, putting them in control by virtue of being away goals. Later on, there's Shonan Bellmar versus Shimizu Osaka and Kyoto Sanga versus Nagoya Grampus, the defending champions. Change being readied by the Kashima Antlers. A second substitution, but first today, that has not been enforced due to injury. And it's Hato Nakama who scored the goal that made it 2-0. This deflected strike into the far corner. And he'll take his leave. It is something of an attacking change. Here comes the forward, it's Suki Someno. One ponders whether they might be switching from 4-4-2 diamond with Diego Pituca in behind the 2 strikers to more of a 4-3-3. Wouldn't surprise me if they do. Delgado left exasperated about something. Do more often than not play a 4-4-2 Kashima Antlers, sometimes with a diamond, allowing Fukuoka to play in behind. It does seem like they have gone now towards 3 up front. To the last 15 minutes plus stoppages. If Avispa Fukuoka can grab one on the break, that might likely be that, because then Kashima Antlers would have to in turn go and find 2 goals. Lifted in towards Everaldo. Headed wide. Brazilian appealing for a corner. Kashima get themselves in front once more. The away goals rule currently taking them out. Looked in. Well defended by Avispa Fukuoka. A couple of lapses in the first half that have been uncharacteristic of them. Pretty impressive at the back recently, and have got a couple of defensive reinforcements ready to come on. Soto Yuzawa, one of them. What would be interesting to see is, are they going to properly shut up shop? Are they going to really, as a certain Jose Mourinho might say, park the bus here and go 5-4-1 or something like that, in just trying to protect what they have? It's good breaking forward from Jordi Kroh. It's the best way to occupy the clock is to keep the ball up the other end. Those away fans gradually getting more and more hopeful they're about to see a big upset here. Kroh winning the corner off Diego Pituca there. Bad corner in at all. That would find the Kashima Antlers though for now. Swinging defence back is good. Delgado. Pass, and that just needlessly hands Kashima Antlers the momentum. I'll have to wait for a second until after these changes are made. So first change will be a straight swap up front. Juanma Delgado, who provided an absolutely brilliant second assist for the goal just before half-time, which could yet be the goal that goes on to decide this tie, will come off. And Roger de Almeida Lucain come on. Rightly, Delgado given very good ovation by the away fans as he heads off. in the second change. He's one that is somewhat defensive-minded as well. Shizawa comes on in place of Jordi Kroh, and as I thought, it will be a tactical switch as well. Triple change coming for the Kashima Antlers as well. And confirmed on your screen now. Koki Anzai, Uta Higuchi and Ryuji Izumi have all come off. And in their places, Rikoto Hirose has come in at left back, one would expect, and then Rotaro Nakamura and Shoma Doi further up the pitch. Pachuca. Made 5 changes now. Thrown pretty much everything at this Kawasaki Frontale as we enter the last 10 minutes. And why not? They've got nothing to lose, really. It doesn't really matter if they concede another goal. No goal difference to worry about. It is, of course, a one-off cup tie. Have a lifted ball through. To be at his best, having just come on the substitute, Masato Uzawa. Does look like they've gone to a back 5 and trying to protect what they have. Avispa Fukuoka, understandably, it's very much their priority. Nicely taken down. Skills as well to keep possession. Patiently trying to work something here. Just St. Clair, and that sort of sums up the mentality at this stage. Understandably for Avispa Fukuoka, it's pretty much anywhere will do stuff. Chase onto something. Can he keep it alive? Well, Lucane nearly ending the tie from a complete lost, what should have been a complete lost cause. Total misread between Sun Tae-kun and his centre-back Sekigawa and Misao. Frustration, the mood of the moment. All of those, the Kashima Antlers disposition. Time rapidly running out for them to save their YBC J.League Levain Cup campaign. Fukuoka nearing ever closer to what would be a shock, no doubt. Avispa meaning wasp in Spanish. I saved you some bad puns about stinging Kashima and putting the Antlers out, but certainly have been a real pest to them. Comes the sort of half across, half a shot. Just needed a touch on the way through and didn't get it. And again, Avispa Fukuoka survived just about. into the last 5 minutes of normal time now. There'll be a fair few minutes of stoppage time, maybe not quite as many as the first half where we had 5 due to some quite lengthy injury delays. Not long for the Kashima Antlers to save themselves. Club with such history, of course, founded in 1947 as the Sumitomo Metal Industries Factory FC in Osaka. Moved to Kashima in Ibaraki in 1975, where they've been based ever since. If you may be wondering where the Antlers name comes from, well, Kashima literally means Deer Island. It's the Antlers name that the club are so globally known for. Get financial backing from Kari, a Japanese e-commerce company. And right now, it's nervous moments for Kashima. A competition that they've enjoyed so much success in, of course. Last won the YBC J.LEAGUE Levain CUP in 2015. They haven't made it further than the semi-finals since then. Lost 4-0 on aggregate against Nagoya Grampus, last season's eventual champions. 4-0 aggregate defeat coming at the quarter-final stage, but they're minutes away from not even making the last 8. Would be a huge story, no doubt about that. Club with so many trophies, so often competing at the top level. It was in 2016 they won the Japanese top flight, did the double with winning the Emperor's Cup too, and finished runners-up in the FIFA Club World Cup. Always consistently up there and challenging. Super Cup winners in 2017. Emperor's Cup runners-up in 2019. Sent forward towards Everaldo. Won't get to him though. Crossing chance, well closed down. Shinomoto can't get into the box, maybe this time. One for Murakami to make sure. He'll be in no rush to get us back underway, no doubt. By Misao. Just a reminder, if you are maybe joining us very late here, it will be Avispa Fukuoka going through on the away goals rule, because they've of course scored one today for Yuya Yamagishi just before half-time. Literally the last kick of the ball before the half-time whistle went. Of course, Kashima Antlers failed to score an away goal a week ago. Moments away from another famous day in the history of Avispa Fukuoka. Will be a yellow. Yamagishi goes into the book, but having scored in both legs, so long as they see it through to go into the quarterfinals, I'm not sure he'll mind about picking up a yellow card. Avispa, of course, founded in 1982 by the workers of security company Shobohan in Shizuoka. Into stoppage time at the end of this one. So Misa just calming down his players. And it comes from Patuka. I'd be interested to know if Avispa Fukuoka, due to competition from other teams in 1984 from the same region. The likes of Chibiru Iwata and Shimizu Espals decided to move to Fukuoka. The community was quite eager to have a J-League club. You often get stories like this in Japanese football of clubs moving around, changing names due to changes of ownership. Then they adopted the new name Fukuoka Blues and became a J-League associate member. And then the name changed to Avispa Fukuoka. Came about to avoid a potential trademark dispute with the men's clothing brand, the Brooks Brothers. Last season broke the mould of often being relegated after just one season in the Japanese top flight. Finished at a record high of 8th after being promoted as runners-up in 2020. Moments away from inflicting a really damaging defeat on René Vellier and his side. Vellier, who's been all around the world at the likes of FC Nuremberg in Germany, Anderlecht in Belgium, most recently at Al Ahly in Egypt before joining the Kashima Antlers. And now sees his side moments away from going out. Possibly the best known Japanese club across the world, of course. Once upon a time captained and managed by former Brazilian star and Japanese national team head coach Zico. Well, Yamagishi feels he was fouled there. On we go. The last minute of the free added on. Zico now technical director. Just helps Kashima Antlers maintain strong ties with the Brazilian football community, reflected by having 5 Brazilian first team players. Indeed, that strong Brazilian connection through Zico has meant Kashima have only actually signed 3 non-Brazilian foreign players since the inception of the J-League. Almost always, until René Vellier, Brazilian or Japanese head coaches. All in, headed on, but that will come to nothing, and that could be that. When Masaki Murakami sends this ball upfield, it might well confirm the full-time whistle here, and an incredible result for Avispa Fukuoka. Yes, they might lose on the night, but that's irrelevant really, because they will progress through to the quarter-finals on the away goals rule. Alma Delgado getting the second assist for that goal. He was on the bench there just begging for the full-time whistle. Just the second time they've ever made the quarter-finals of this competition. Assuming the full-time whistle does come, but not yet. It would be just the 3rd time they've made the quarter-finals of any cup competition in their history. And to do it against the mighty Kashima Antlers. In it comes though. Is there a late twist? Nodded on, but taken by Masaki Murakami, and that is it! Avispa Fukuoka are through to the quarter-finals of the YBC J.League Levain Cup. What a story here in Kashima. The mighty Kashima Antlers are out on the away goals rule. A priceless away goal from Yuya Yamagishi with the last kick of the first half makes the difference. And for just the 3rd time in their history, they've reached the quarter-finals of a major cup competition. Just the 2nd time they've ever done it in the YBC J.League Levain Cup. They did it in 2016 as well, Avispa Fukuoka. They reached the quarters of the Emperor's Cup back in 2010. They've never won a major trophy. What a story this is. The mighty Kashima Antlers are out at the playoff stage. It's a result that will surprise the Japanese and wider footballing world. We had a highly entertaining game here. Everaldo scored 10 minutes before the break, and then just 4 minutes later, Hayato Nakama made it 2-0 on the afternoon to put the Kashima Antlers 2-1 in front on aggregate. But it's Yuya Yamagishi's goal that has ultimately ended up making the difference. That away goal right before the half-time whistle. It sends Avispa Fukuoka through in this, the first of 4 playoff matches going on today in second leg games. And the Kashima Antlers are out. It's been a pleasure to have your company wherever you've been across the world. Jubilation for those Avispa Fukuoka fans who can now look forward to the quarter-final draw. It's a real upset here. That's the side who are second in the J-League. The Kashima Antlers are out of the J.LEAGUE YBC Levain Cup for this season. Avispa Fukuoka through. Great credit to them. It finishes here on the night. The Kashima Antlers 2, Avispa Fukuoka 1. But Avispa Fukuoka through on the away goals rule and into the YBC J.LEAGUE Levain Cup quarterfinals for just the second time in their history.
見事プレーオフステージを突破したアビスパ福岡の山岸優也選手です。おめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
2戦合計で突破という形となりました。今の気持ち聞かせてください。
まずは突破できたことがすごく嬉しいし、次にまたつながったんで自分たちの目標であるベスト4以上というところを目指して頑張りたいと思います。
第1戦でゴールを決め、そして今日もアウェーゴール見事に決め切りました。あのシーン振り返っていただけますか。
ファンマが突破してくれて、でヨータがいい感じでディフェンス引きつけてくれてラスパスくれたんで、あとは落ち着いて決めるだけでした。
そしてアウェーの中でサポーターが声を出し続けました。あの声というのは届いていましたか。
はい、もうアップの時から結構ずっと聞こえてて、なんかこう震えるというか、久しぶりにこの感覚だなっていうのをこうなんか笑顔になるというか、なんかこう嬉しい気持ちになって、今日負けてしまったんですけど、突破できたってことが最低限良かったんで、次また頑張りたいと思います。
さあいよいよ次はプライムステージでの戦いです。次なるステージへの意気込みお願いします。
次しっかり勝って自分たちの目標であるベスト4以上というところを目指して頑張りたいと思います。
ありがとうございました。山岸選手でした。あり
がとうございました。
プライムステージへの切符をつかみました。まずは今の気持ち聞かせてください。
嬉しいです。
嬉しいですか。多くのサポーターが声を出し続けました。あの声後押しになったんじゃないでしょうか。
そうですね、選手たちはよくやってくれました。声援がなかったらこの勝ち抜けはなかったと思います。
そして前半2点取られて追いかける展開となりましたが、その中で山岸選手のあの見事なゴールでした。あのゴールどのように見ていましたか。
全体的にはあまりチームとして機能ができていなかった中での得点だったので、チームを救った得点になりました。
そしてカップ戦ベスト4以上という目標を掲げている中でまた一つ前に進みました。次のステージへの意気込み聞かせてください。
同じようにいい準備して選手たちが活躍できるように、一丸となりたいと思います。
ありがとうございました。長谷部監督でした。
ありがとうございました。
両チーム選手の入場です。
天才と称